Welcome back to the channel. What is good? Today I'm gonna make this into a video. I'm gonna be reacting to the executive orders Donald Trump signed, apparently. Because I heard that they're pretty unhinged. So let's talk about it.
On a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense.
Let's look at the changes Trump is making. I'm Marianne Ahern. This is The Brief. President Trump is wasting no time. Those who know him well say in his first term, he also tried to make big changes, but was told, slow down. Congress moves more slowly. This time, he is not wasting any time. Immigration, one of his key campaign promises, and that's where he's focused on day one. Trump is declaring a national emergency at the border and is sending U.S. troops to the U.S.-Mexico border. He also plans to end catch and release and does promise to continue building the wall. Trump plans to label drug cartels.
All right, so far, sending more military personnel at the border. I mean, that is a preference thing. If you think it's a big issue, then sure. If you think that it's overblown, then probably a waste of resources. I don't really care too much about that one. In terms of what other things did she say?
On day one, Trump is declaring a national emergency at the border and is
Declaring a national emergency. What does that mean necessarily? Let me see this right here. What does it mean to declare a national emergency? You know what? I'm just gonna look it up here. What does it mean to declare a national emergency? Shortly after his inauguration, Donald Trump said he would declare a national emergency at the U.S. border. The declaration leverages the National Emergencies Act to address what Trump described as an ongoing border crisis. Reflects what is the national. What is. Alright, what is the National Emergencies Act? Why do I look so weird right here? I have to edit the filters. Don't mind me. Gotta edit these filters because it looks kind of off. All right, looks slightly better. All right. Let's look up the National Emergencies Act. If you okay. United States federal law passed to end all previous national emergencies and to formalize the emergency powers of the president. The act empowers the president to activate special powers during a crisis, but imposes certain procedural formalities when invoking such powers. The perceived need for the law arose from the scope and number of laws granting special powers to the executive in times of national emergency. So Congress can deny this, but will they? Probably not. He controls the Congress right now. Provisions termination of presidential authority. A prior Senate investigation found 470 provisions of federal law that a president might invoke via a declaration of emergency. The act repealed several of these provisions. It stated the prior emergency declaration would no longer give force to these provisions. So it kind of reminds me of like the COVID situation. For new exceptions, emergency powers. Okay, so just give them more powers to do as he pleases. This That's something.
Sending U.S. troops to the U.S. Mexico border. He also plans to end catch and release and does promise to continue building the wall.
Building the wall, don't care. Arguably a waste of resources, but it's not a big deal for me. Let me look up what is Castro. I know this, but I'm just looking up for so we're all on the same page on what certain stuff is. All right, shout out Wikipedia. Um, in the United States, immigration enforcement, catch and release refers to a practice of releasing migrants to the community while they await hearings in immigration court as an alternative to holding them in immigration detention. The migrants whom U.S. immigration enforcement agencies have allowed to remain in the community pending immigrant hearings have been those deemed low risk, such as children, families, and those seeking asylum. So, children, I think we can all be on the same page. Should not be put in detention centers. Families, I think the same argument can be made. Those seeking asylum is risky because it's like the process of seeking asylum is so backlogged. So this can definitely be a potential loophole. I do think a not ending catch and release, but modifying it would be all right, in my opinion. All right, let's continue.
Trump plans to label drug cartels terrorist organizations. He also wants
Labeling drug cartels as a terrorist organization could be a very interesting tool Donald Trump uses to enact certain provisions. So we got to keep a close eye on that one.
to end
All right.
birthright citizenship. Now, that's a constitutional protection. So he will need a constitutional amendment to change it. What he's
So that's the big one. Donald Trump wants to end birthright citizenship and catch and release drug cartels or terrorists. I mean, that's I'm just gonna stick to the big ones. The other ones are pretty understandable. So Donald Trump wanting to end birthright citizenship is insane. I think we can. No, I can't even say we all agree because I think a lot of MAGA is gonna support him regardless. But apparently, 18 states are suing to stop Trump's birthright citizenship order. Let's go look at what those states are. All right. So, the states suing Donald Trump for ending birthright citizenship. Now, if you don't know what birthright citizenship is, it's when you're born, it's the ability to be declared a U.S. citizen if you are born in the country. All right, let's look at this. So there's a lot of states suing Donald Trump for trying to enact an executive order that ends birthright citizenship, an executive order that will contradict the U.S. Constitution. But we already know that Donald Trump is more than willing to suspend the Constitution if it fits his own needs. So I'm curious on the list of states that are suing him. So we got Michigan being one of them. Massachusetts, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, so California. So here are the 18 states: New Jersey, Massachusetts, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, D.C., Hawaii, Maine, Maryland, and Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Rhode Island, Vermont, Wisconsin, and California, San Francisco, same thing. So this is kind of insane that Donald Trump is trying to end birthright citizenship. I don't want to go through this whole lawsuit, but I just wanted to show it to you. I mean, the whole idea when Vivek Ramaswamy proposed it, who is off of Doge, by the way, because Elon Musk loves um, autonomous control. When he initially said this, I thought this was ridiculous. But now we're at a situation where where Donald Trump is really trying to put this into action. This is just the tip of the iceberg, by the way, of what things that Donald Trump wants to do. But it's kind of crazy. You can be born here and not automatically have birthright citizenship. Like, imagine this. If I have a kid, will they have to take a citizenship test? Like, is that the rule? Every single kid in America has to take a citizenship test. Everyone that's born moving forward. It's kind of insane to me, I'll be honest. And let's say the kid is just kind of dumb, right? And the kid did not pass the citizenship test. Are we saying that that kid is now not an American? Like, the potential trail that this can go down that will be absolutely ridiculous is mind blowing. But hey, man, Donald Trump does what Donald Trump does. Can't be too surprised on the unhinged nature of this man.
He's calling for is this change going forward, not for those who have already received that protection. What is birthright citizenship? It means if you are born in this country, you are a citizen of this country. Even, let's say, your parents may be from another country, but if you are born here in the U.S., you are a U.S. citizen. As soon as he took office, he ended what many asylum seekers had been using. It's a mobile app called CBP One. It helped to restore order as those sought appointments at the border to try to get into the U.S. As soon as Trump took office, that CBP One app, it no longer existed. It was shut down. Next,
I'm gonna write some of the stuff. Drug cartels or terrorists. CBP app close. National emergency. Border wall and military. Helps me just keep a track of everything. So far, in terms of the immigration stuff, all things that was within expectation. But I am gonna be honest, it's wild that he tries to pull the birthright citizenship. Like, obviously he hates immigrants, so he doesn't want immigrants to come in the country. But now we're kind of edging into picking and choosing who gets to become an American, which is crazy, very much so. So yeah, I can't see how this gets pushed through, but we shall see.
next up, the economy. As Trump puts it, let's make America more affordable again. And in that respect, he plans to unleash energy policies.
I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill.
Trump also plans to end leasing wind farms. He wants to expand domestic energy production.
Yeah, for some reason Donald Trump hates windmills, so Donald Trump wants to end windmills. Why? Not sure. I don't understand why he hates windmills so much. Because he just wants to drill, baby, drill, I guess.
Also wants to lower EPA emissions on cars. Trump plans to also
Okay, lower EPA emissions on cars. What does that mean? Let's look it up. That's what the internet is for. What does it mean to lower? What does it mean to lower EPA emissions? I'm guessing this is the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and lowering lowering the standard. So lowering EPA emissions. So isn't that a good thing? Hold on.
plans to also withdraw from the Paris Climate Accords.
We'll talk about that in a second.
From the Paris Climate Accord.
Drill.
Trump also plans to end leasing wind farms. He wants to expand domestic energy production. He also wants to lower EPA emissions on cars.
He wants to lower EPA emissions on car. I mean, based off what this says, lowering EPA emissions means reducing the amount of carbon we emit to achieve net zero. We need to reduce carbon emissions, remove carbon from the atmosphere, and use lower carbon fuels. So if he's doing that, that's a good thing, right? I might be misunderstanding, but that sounds like a good thing to me, unless I'm misunderstanding something.
Trump plans to also withdraw from the Paris Climate Accords. That Paris Agreement, adopted back in 2015, it is legally binding and it's meant to fight climate change. Not everyone agreed with it. Certainly Donald Trump does not. However, at that time, yes, President Obama in charge did agree. On the economy, we're looking for executive.
So very obvious, Donald Trump doesn't really care about the environment. He doesn't really care about the global change. He doesn't believe in it, which is why he removed himself for the Paris Climate Accords. You know what's interesting? I think recently, I think either early, no, it's probably late 2024. There's like a meeting, I believe, of a lot of the G6 countries. I believe at the very least a lot of powerful countries, and their attempt to lower the amount of emission carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and the amount, and wanting to increase the funding to these regulations and practices. So this is definitely a hamper to that entire philosophy, right? So
Actions, not necessarily orders. As he sees it, these energy measures will reduce the cost of living. As far as core Republican conservative values promised all along by Trump during his campaign, he says those DEI policies, they're going away. Instead, he will be focused on colorblind and merit-based. He's also
he wants to remove DEI.
issuing a federal.
I already gave my opinion on DEI multiple times. If we're blindly looking at people and hiring people based off of like race or anything like sexual or gender or whatever, I think that is inappropriate, right? Can it play a factor? Sure. I mean, freaking Donald Trump probably hires his son because it's his son. So it's like we see it all the time in businesses hiring people, you know. So it's kind of weird when people go like, you know what, I usually hire people I know, and then being very critical on someone hiring, you know what, I just want more representation in the workplace, so I'm gonna just hire a different type of person who have the same qualifications. You know, it's double standard. Not too surprised. The thing I will say though, even though no one can really prove what how DEI is this horrible, horrible, horrible thing, is those opportunities where a person who's underprivileged cannot not only afford but access the same type of resources as a rich or more privileged individual. Are we saying that doesn't matter anymore? Are we just going to hire one subset of individuals? Like, in order for the population and different demographics to truly feel equated, you need to build a foundation of the accessibility to acquire said occupations and resources and skills. And in order to do that, you need to have things like DEI to give them the opportunity that they wouldn't be afforded to if they were in the same situation as someone else, right? So, are we going to abandon that? Who knows, really? Who knows?
Mandate that there are only two sexes, male and female. How might that
I mean, I agree. There are only two sexes. I think it's nothing to argue about.
impact all of us? Well, it could even impact your passport or other federal documents. It could impact education policy. It could impact the military. We're going to be watching that for sure. Trump also has big plans to rename the Gulf of Mexico and Mount Denali. Let's start with the Gulf of Mexico.
He wants to so he's serious about renaming the Gulf of Mexico. He's serious about that. Donald Trump is a hoot, man.
As for the Gulf of Mexico, Trump says he'd like it called the Gulf of America. It's not unusual for bodies of water to have different names, but for Trump to make this big change happen, he's also going to have to work with international hydrographic organizations to see it through. Even if that happens, other nations may not recognize the name change. When it comes to Denali, that was an Obama rename. It was changed from Mount McKinley. Today, Trump says he will restore that name to Mount McKinley to
Who
honor
cares?
President William McKinley.
Who cares? I don't care about the name of a mountain. Like what? Why is this on my docket? Why is this a conversation? Mount Denali versus Mount whatchamacallit, Mount McKinley? I don't care. I don't care about the name of a mountain.
Why was it called McKinley to begin with? A gold prospector gave it that name. He was an admirer of McKinley at the time, although we've read McKinley never visited Alaska. Nevertheless, that was the name since 1896, officially.
So a random dude liked McKinley and just named it there, and then Donald Trump felt so pressed because Obama changed the name that he changed it back. It's just pettiness, bro. It's just I don't care. Bro.
The federal government also agreed back in 1917. However, President Obama in 2015 changed the name to Denali. Denali means the high one in its Native American origin, and that's why President Obama gave it that honor. However, Trump tried to do this in his first term. The Alaska senators said no, they objected. However, today he plans to go forward and rename it Mount.
So anytime the states say no, Donald Trump is going to sign an executive order and say yes. Hey, let's give the states more power. I thought that was the Republican way of life. Give the states more power, smaller federal government. I thought that was the big thing for Republicans. I guess not. I guess not. Not surprising.
McKinley. Overall, very busy day one start. We're already seeing legal.
Oh, you didn't talk about the pardons. So, okay. There might have been more, but we got over some of the big ones. Might as well. You know what? I'm going to look it up. Donald Trump pardons. Shout out Reuters. That's the first link, so I just clicked on it. So let's read what this has to say. A day after the U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping grant of clemency, Drew. All right, I'm gonna before I dive into that too in-depthly. Let's see if I can fix my camera. For some reason, it keeps on being weird. Why is my green screen just like choosing not to vibe? Is that better? See, I do that, but then the edges start tweaking. See? Is it because I'm so close to it? Has to be. Has to be. Hold on. After this, I might try to do something. But all right, let's read this in the meantime. So, sweeping grant of clemency to all of the nearly 1,600 people charged in connection with the 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. America's far right celebrated. Some called for the death of the judges who oversaw the trials, of course. So all of them. As he took office, Secretary Trump continued to claim falsely, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to see exactly what he did. So nearly all these people are going to be so much more loyal to Trump now. A lot of people stayed away from us after now they're going to feel like they are bulletproof. Bulletproof. Two police officers who were beaten while trying to hold off the crowd said the pardons were a chilling sign that loyalty to Trump is now more important than the rule of law. Facts. Among the pardon were more than 300 who pled guilty to either assaulting or obstructing law enforcement, including 69 who committed to assaulting police with a dangerous or deadly weapon. Trump's order commuted the sentences of 14 convicted of serious crimes, including Stuart Rhodes, former leader for the Oath Keepers. He also issued pardons for Rico Tario, the person who was charged for seditious conspiracy. This is wild, man. This is wild. But is it surprising? Hell no, because Trump has no integrity. So if you're loyal to him and do what you want, he's going to grant you a pardon. Honestly, I know Biden did some pardons. We might need to talk about the validity of pardons. They might need to get vetoed. I'm going to be honest, because these pardons are wild. Wild. Congress should be able to veto pardons moving forward, because even his vice president, J.D. Vance, said that he doesn't believe that the violent criminals should get pardons. Even he said this, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all.